The moment you assume something to be true, your world begins to shift. Everything you perceive, your relationships, your finances, your health, is molded not by what is, but by what you believe to be. The secret is not to wait for the outer world to confirm your desires. The secret is to act as if, to live in the end of your wish fulfilled, to feel the joy before it manifests, to walk with certainty while the world still whispers doubt. You do not need physical evidence to validate your desire. The outer world is only the reflection of the inner state. The law of consciousness does not ask for permission from your senses. It responds only to the assumption you dare to occupy. When you move in faith, not blind hope, but creative certainty, you align with the power that shapes reality. You do not wish for what you want, you become it. To act as if is to live in the unseen, to claim what has not yet been clothed in form. The seed is real long before it breaks through the soil. So too is your desire real the moment you assume it to be so. Speak the words, wear the feeling, take the step, not because the world has changed, but because you have. You have shifted states, and the world must echo that shift. Imagination is the workshop of creation. What you accept as true in your imagination, you externalize in your world. If you imagine lack and dwell in fear, you call forth that experience. But if you imagine plenty and dwell in peace, you reshape the field around you. You cannot outmaneuver your inner state. You can only change it. So feel now what you would feel if your prayer were answered. Smile with the inner knowing that it is done. Don't look to the mirror of life for confirmation. Create the reflection by changing your face within. The outer mirrors the inner. The world rearranges itself around the conviction of the one who knows. Faith is not hoping that something will happen. Faith is assuming that it already has. When you act as if, you move differently. You think, speak, breathe, and carry yourself in a way that magnetizes your desire. You become one with it, and in doing so, you draw it from the unseen. You are never meant to wait for life to convince you. You were meant to create from the stillness of belief. So assume the feeling, enter the state, act as if, and let the invisible become visible through you. Assumption creates reality. This is the foundation of all conscious creation. Every event, every encounter, every circumstance you call life springs forth from the state of consciousness you occupy. It is not chance. It is not fate. It is not something that happens to you. It is something that unfolds through you. The truth is simple. The outer world is yourself, pushed out, and the moment you dare to assume something new about yourself or your life, a change begins to ripple through the invisible fabric of reality, setting into motion that which will make your assumption flesh. You must understand that assumption is not wishful thinking. It is not hoping that something might come true. It is not waiting for conditions to align before you believe. Assumption is belief in motion. It is the quiet inner knowing that what you desire is already yours. It is claiming a state with your full emotional and spiritual acceptance, even if the outer world gives you no reason to believe it. When you assume something and persist in that assumption, regardless of appearances, life reconfigures itself to make your belief visible. The world responds not to what you want, but to what you are. You do not attract what you wish for, you attract what you embody. This is why assumption is so powerful. When you assume a thing to be true, you shift your state of being, and your state of being is magnetic. You begin to think different thoughts. You speak with new conviction, you carry yourself in a new way. All of this becomes a signal to the unseen forces of creation. This is now who I am. There is no need to strain or struggle. The assumption itself is enough. If you hold it without doubt, without contradiction, The imagination is the birthplace of all form. What you accept as true in imagination must one day appear in your outer world. It is law. If you accept lack, failure, or rejection as your story, you will see it repeated. But if you accept abundance, love, success, and freedom as your reality, even in the face of current limitation, you begin to move in a different direction. And that direction leads straight to your desire fulfilled. You are never waiting on the world is waiting on you. Waiting for you to assume something new. Waiting for you to stop asking, begging, and worrying, and to begin claiming, declaring, and knowing. The moment you shift within, the journey without begins to align. But the key is to persist, not to look around after a day or a week and say, nothing has changed. If you look for the evidence, you're not living in the assumption, you're testing it. You're still in doubt. And doubt delays. To assume is to live from the end. It means you think, feel, and act as though the thing you want is already yours. You imagine from it, not toward it. You do not visualize having it someday. You close your eyes and feel what it would be like to already have it, to already be it. You occupy the state of your fulfilled desire as naturally and confidently as you would wear a new outfit that fits you perfectly. There is no strain, there is no need to convince. You simply know. And that knowing becomes your new foundation. Most people continue to create unconsciously. They let the facts of the world dictate what they believe is possible. But reality is not fixed. It is fluid, shaped by your inner convictions. Every moment you are assuming something about yourself, about others, about life. And those assumptions build the framework of your experience. If you walk around assuming you are unlucky, unseen, unworthy, the world reflects that. If you shift and begin assuming that everything is working out for you, that you are loved, chosen, and supported, then slowly, steadily, the world will echo that new truth. This is not magic. This is alignment. This is creation in its purest form. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the origin of them. Your assumptions are seeds, and life is the soil. Whatever you plant within, life will grow around you. But you must be consistent. You must water the assumption with your faith. You must feed it with repetition, imagination, and feeling. You must return to it when doubt creeps in. You must choose it over the familiar story of lack, because the old story will beg for your attention. It will tempt you to fall back into fear, but the new story, the one you assume and claim, must become your dwelling place. When you walk in assumption, you do not wait for signs. You are the sign. Your energy shifts, your presence changes, and things begin to move in unseen ways. People come into your life, opportunities arise, obstacles dissolve. You do not control how it happens. That is not your work. Your work is to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to assume that it is already done, to believe without seeing, and to continue believing even when nothing has changed. Because in truth, everything has already changed the moment you dared to assume. Assumption creates reality, because consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being, you become. So choose carefully, speak deliberately, feel deeply, move as though you are already the person you want to be, already living the life you dream of. Let go of needing to know when or how. That burden does not belong to you. What belongs to you is the assumption, the feeling, the inner conviction. Lie from that, and the world will follow. It always does. It has no choice. To act as if is to step into the state of your desire before it has taken form in the physical world. It is to embody the version of yourself who already has what you long for, who already is what you wish to become. It is not pretending. It is not playing make-believe. It is becoming inwardly aligned with the version of reality you wish to experience outwardly. When you act as if, you are not chasing the dream, you are living it in consciousness. And consciousness is the only place from which reality flows. Every desire you hold is a call from a higher version of you, inviting you into a new state of being. That state already exists. It is not something you need to create, it is something you must enter. And how do you enter it? You begin by acting as if you are already there. You think the thoughts you would think if it were true. You feel the emotions you would feel if it were real. You respond to life as the version of yourself who has already arrived. This is not a performance for the world, this is an inner stance. It is an energetic declaration. I am what I desire to be. The world mirrors back to you your dominant inner state. So when you act as if, you are not manipulating reality, you are aligning with it. You are stepping into the creative power of assumption and taking your place in the story you choose to tell. You are not waiting for evidence, you are not looking around for proof, you are not asking the outer world for permission to believe. Instead, you become the cause and the world becomes the effect. You say, "This is who I am," and the world eventually responds, "Yes, I see it now too." If you desire wealth, do not wait for the numbers to change in your bank account before you feel secure. Feel secure now. Think, speak, and move from the feeling of abundance. Handle money with reverence and calm. Make decisions from a place of sufficiency, not fear. If you desire love, do not wait for someone to choose you before you feel lovable. Feel lovable now. Wake up with gratitude for the love that surrounds you, even if it has not yet arrived in visible form. Let your actions reflect the presence of what you desire, not the absence of it. This is not delusion, this is creation. This is what it means to live in faith, not in something outside of you, but in the unseen power within you. Acting as if is a demonstration of trust. It says to the universe, I do not need to see it to believe it. I believe it, and therefore I will see it. This belief, felt deeply and persistently, is what summons the unseen into the seen. You do not need to beg, you do not need to strive. You only need to become. When you act as if, you take ownership of your creative role in life. You stop waiting, you stop doubting, you stop living in a state of lack. You shift from I hope it happens to I am already living it. And this shift is everything. Because the body responds, the mind responds, the energy around you responds. Your choices change, your habits change, the way people respond to you changes, and all of it begins to reflect the version of reality you are now embodying. Do not worry about the pace of change. What appears slow in the physical world is often already completed in the spiritual realm. You are not planting seeds and digging them up every day to check for growth. You are planting the seed of belief, and you are watering it with action, with imagination, with gratitude. You are carrying yourself as someone who knows the harvest is guaranteed. When you act as if, you bypass the doubt. You override the noise of the senses and lean into a deeper knowing. You feel it real. Every time you act from the state of the wish fulfilled, you reinforce it. You build a stronger and stronger foundation in consciousness, and eventually the bridge of incidents will appear. People, opportunities, ideas, and events will line up to confirm what you have already claimed. But you must not look for them. You must not ask, where is it? The moment you do, you step out of the state. Remain faithful to the end you have imagined. Live from it, not toward it. Even when nothing seems to be happening, especially when nothing seems to be happening, that is the time to persist. Because the outer world is always the last to reflect what has already occurred within. The delay is not denial, it is alignment. The pieces are moving, the shape is forming. But your job is not to watch the clock. Your job is to stay in the state, to continue acting as if the dream is already real. The one who persists in faith will see the invisible made visible. You are not trying to convince others, you are not seeking validation, you are not performing for the world. You are simply being who you choose to be, knowing that life must conform to that choice. This is quiet power. This is still confidence. This is creative certainty. When you act as if, The world may not understand you, but it doesn't have to. What matters is that you understand the law. What matters is that you remain true to the vision within. So, carry yourself like someone who is already there. Breathe like someone who is at peace. Move through your day as someone who is blessed. Make choices as someone who is empowered. Let your inner world reflect the life you desire, and soon your outer world will too. Act as if, not because you are faking it, but because you are creating it. Not because you are waiting for a sign, but because you are the sign. The state you assume and persist in becomes your world. Always. Without fail. Faith is not a passive state. It is not idle waiting. It is not simply wishing or hoping that things might turn out well. True faith is movement within. It is the inner shift that says, I no longer see myself as separate from what I desire. It is the bold acceptance of what cannot yet be seen but is already known. It is stepping into the feeling of certainty even while the outer world offers none. This kind of faith, the kind that moves mountains, is rooted in the unseen reality of consciousness. And it is from this unseen that all things arise. The physical world is nothing more than a shadow cast by our inner state. Everything you see, touch, or experience externally has its origin in consciousness. Your assumptions, your inner conversations, your beliefs, these are the architects of your reality. The outer world merely follows. When you understand this, you realize that there is no need to argue with facts or wrestle with circumstances. You do not need to wait for things to change before you believe. You believe, and things must change. This is why faith in the unseen is not only necessary, it is the very foundation of creation. To live by faith is to live from the end. It is to bypass the evidence of the senses and accept a higher truth, one that lives only within you at first. You close your eyes to appearances and open them to imagination. You no longer consult the world to decide what is real, you consult your awareness. You go within and dwell in the experience of already being the person you desire to be, already having the thing you desire to have. Faith is not blind. It sees beyond. It does not deny the physical, but it refuses to let the physical dictate what is possible. Faith understands that what you see now is merely a reflection of what you once believed. And so it turns inward and begins anew. It constructs a new image, a new assumption, a new inner conversation. It walks in the feeling of fulfillment long before the outer world has caught up. It does not waver, it does not wait, it simply remains, steady and sure because it knows that consciousness is the only reality. When you live by faith in the unseen, you are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are the cause. You are not reacting, you are creating. You are not hoping, you are knowing. This is a shift in identity. You stop identifying as the person who lacks and begin to identify as the person who possesses. You move from longing to living. You stop seeing yourself as someone who might one day become, and instead you live as someone who already is. Faith in the unseen is deeply practical. It is not just theory. It changes how you show up. It alters your decisions. It shifts your language, your body language, your choices. You become congruent with the life you've accepted in consciousness. If you have chosen abundance within, you no longer speak words of lack. If you have chosen love within, you no longer act from fear. Your external habits begin to match your internal reality. The bridge between worlds is built not by force, but by faith. This is why the feeling is so important. The feeling is the secret. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the state you must enter. And when you truly enter that state, it becomes natural to speak from it, to think from it, to act from it. You are no longer pretending, you are embodying. You are no longer waiting for life to deliver, you are delivering life through the power of your assumption. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is knowing who you are and whose you are. It is knowing that your imagination is divine, that your inner world holds infinite potential. When doubt arises, as it often does, you do not fight it. You return to the feeling. You return to the end. You revisit the state of already having it. You do not analyze or struggle. You feel. You feel yourself into the new version of reality again and again until it becomes your dwelling place. Faith is persistence. It is loyalty to the unseen. It is the refusal to give up on the inner knowing just because the outer has not yet responded. Even when all seems contrary, even when the facts scream otherwise, you remain. You choose to stay loyal to your unseen vision. This is the test. This is the moment when creation is either birthed or abandoned. Most people give up too soon. They believe only when they see, but those who live by faith in the unseen know. Belief comes first. The evidence always follows. Life is not random. It is responding to you, and it must respond in kind. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen. The how is not yours to manage. Your only task is to enter the state and remain there, to feel the end and let it move you. Let it inform your speech, your choices, your expectations. You do not need to force it into being. You need only to stay faithful to the inner truth, and the outer must rearrange to match. This is the essence of faith in the unseen, that what is real within must become real without, that the inner reality, when sustained, must express itself in form. So you walk through the world not as one who waits, but as one who knows. You carry yourself not as a beggar, but as a creator. You look not for signs, but you become the sign. And in time, the world mirrors back to you the fullness of what you have accepted in faith. You are the operant power. What you accept as true becomes your world. So accept boldly, assume courageously. Live from the unseen until the unseen becomes seen. And when it does, you will recognize it not as a surprise, but as the inevitable outpicturing of the state you never left. Faith is not something you find, it is something you choose. Choose it now, choose it often. Choose it even when the world disagrees, because the world is always a delayed echo of your inner stance. And when faith becomes your stance, creation becomes your experience. The true power of creation lies not in force, but in alignment. It is not about striving or efforting to change the outer world. It is about changing the inner state and allowing the outer to follow. To live in alignment means to become internally what you desire to see externally. It is to no longer ask, how will this come to pass, but to boldly declare it already is. The world, being a mirror, can only reflect what you assume to be true about yourself. This is why acting as if is not deception. It is truth expressed before it is acknowledged by the senses. When you act as if your desire is already fulfilled, you are not pretending. You are embodying. You are stepping into the consciousness of the fulfilled version of yourself. You are living from the end. This state of being creates an internal atmosphere, a vibration that must be matched by your external world. Creation is not about attracting something separate from you. It is about recognizing that what you seek is already within you, waiting to be claimed. To act as if is to refuse to be dominated by appearances. It is the deliberate decision to no longer respond to circumstances with fear or limitation. Instead, you respond from the knowing that you have already received what you desire. Your tone changes, your posture shifts, your thoughts become elevated. You do not ask for permission to believe, you choose to believe. And from that belief, your world rearranges itself. This is the power of assumption. Most people believe they must wait until something happens before they can feel differently. They wait for the money to arrive, for the relationship to begin, for the healing to manifest. But they have it backwards. The feeling must come first. The assumption must precede the manifestation. You must become the person who already has what you desire. And how does that person think? How do they speak? How do they walk, breathe, move through the world? Step into that. Embody it. Let it become second nature. It is not about faking it. It is about creating congruence between your inner state and your outer life. You are not trying to convince the world. You are aligning with your truth. You are choosing to trust that the unseen is more real than the seen. You are honoring your imagination as the divine creative power that it is. You are treating the invisible as if it were visible, and in doing so, you summon it into form. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the bridge between desire and manifestation. When you dwell in that feeling long enough, it begins to alter your behavior. You stop chasing, you stop worrying. You no longer act from lack but from fulfillment. You no longer seek validation because you are already full. You make choices that match your assumption, and this consistency of inner and outer is what brings the unseen into view. This is the mystery so few understand. The world cannot resist the inner conviction of one who has assumed that desire is already fulfilled. When you act as if, you are no longer trying to make something happen. You are letting it unfold. You are planting your consciousness in the end and allowing life to rise up to meet it. There is no force in this. There is no strain. There is only faith in the process and loyalty to the state of being. Many wonder why their desires remain unfulfilled, yet they continue to act from the state of not having. They think about their desires, but they feel lack. They pray for change, but they speak words of fear. They visualize the end, but live from the middle. Creation is not simply about what you want. It is about what you assume. Your assumption creates your experience. Your state of consciousness is the cause. So to act as if is to shift your cause. It is to live in alignment with the reality you wish to experience, and to do so now, not when it arrives, but because it already has. This inner conviction becomes your guide. It becomes your compass. It tells you what to say, where to go, what to accept and what to release. It tells you what aligns and what does not. And the more faithfully you remain in that state, the more naturally the outer world begins to echo it. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. What you are in consciousness must be expressed in form. This is law. So when you rise each day, you do not look to the world for confirmation, you give the world direction. You rise in the assumption of being. You act in harmony with your unseen reality. If your desire is to be successful, you begin to speak and carry yourself as one who already is. If your desire is to be loved, you begin to radiate the love you already possess. If your desire is freedom, you move with the confidence of someone already free. This shift is not cosmetic, it is foundational. You may not see immediate results. That does not mean it is not working. It means that your new assumption is still taking root. The unseen must be watered with belief, consistency, and patience. If you remain loyal to your new state, the outer world must conform. Every action you take from the state of fulfillment strengthens your foundation. It tells the subconscious, this is who I am now. And the subconscious obeys. Let the world say what it will. Let facts contradict you. Let appearances try to distract you. Do not be moved. You are not living by sight, you are living by insight. You are not reacting, you are initiating. And you are doing so not by force, but by assumption. You are acting as if not to deceive others, but to align with truth. The truth that your desire is already yours in consciousness, and consciousness is the only reality. This is not about performance. It is not about pretending for show. It is about embodying your inner knowing with integrity. It is about moving through the world in harmony with your assumption, regardless of delay or opposition. It is the quiet, steady power of inner conviction. You do not need to prove anything, you simply need to be it. Your being does the work. Your state of consciousness does the attracting. Your faith does the unfolding. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. The line between imagination and experience blurs until the world begins to reflect the state you have long held within, and when it does, you will not be surprised. You will not marvel. You will not feel lucky. You will feel the deep satisfaction of knowing it was always so. You believed before you saw. You aligned before the form arrived. You acted as if, and so it became. All creation begins with a feeling. The outer world is not shaped by what you think you believe, but by what you feel to be true. It is emotion that impresses upon the subconscious, not logic. And so, to live in the state of the wish fulfilled, one must not only imagine the end, but dwell in the emotional atmosphere of its fulfillment. Emotional rehearsal is the act of conditioning your inner world until it becomes more real to you than the facts outside. It is not about wishing or hoping. It is about knowing. And that knowing is forged in feeling. When you rehearse emotionally, you are not merely visualizing, you are embodying. You are training your nervous system to become familiar with the sensations that accompany your desired state. You are creating a blueprint that your subconscious mind recognizes and accepts as normal. And what the subconscious expresses, it must express. This is how creation occurs. Not through willpower, but through alignment. Not through effort, but through embodiment. Most people attempt to change their lives while emotionally anchored to their current reality. They may affirm abundance while feeling poor, or declare health while feeling sick, but the feeling dominates. The subconscious responds to the emotional charge, not the words. This is why emotional rehearsal is essential. You must flood your body with the feelings of already having what you want, not someday, but now. The more consistently you do this, the more you convince the inner man that the new state is real. And once it is accepted within, the outer world must mirror it. This rehearsal is sacred. It is your time to dwell in the unseen and bring it to life through your senses. What does your fulfilled desire feel like? How does it change your posture, your breath, your tone of voice? What emotions rise up when you know it is already done? Let yourself feel them now. Do not wait for proof. Feel first, and proof follows. This is the law. You may begin by closing your eyes and entering the scene of your fulfilled desire, but it is not enough to see it. You must feel it. Hear the sounds of that world. Feel the texture of it. Let your body respond. Smile as if you've already received the news. Walk across your room with the calm assurance of one who knows it is already theirs. Speak as if the miracle has already happened. Allow the tears of joy, the swelling gratitude, the quiet confidence to rise and saturate your being. This is not fantasy. This is creation in motion. Every time you do this, you strengthen the bridge between your inner world and your physical reality. You become more familiar with the new state and less tethered to the old one. Your identity begins to shift, not because something happened on the outside, but because you rehearsed it on the inside so many times, it became natural. It became you. This is the beauty of imagination when used with feeling. It lifts you beyond time. You are no longer waiting, you are living it now. You are collapsing the gap between desire and fulfillment by removing the one thing that keeps them apart: doubt. Doubt cannot live where emotional certainty resides. And emotional certainty is built not by chance, but by practice. You rehearse until the feeling becomes automatic, and what once felt foreign, some may say, but I don't feel it right away. That is okay. You are not failing, you are learning. You are introducing a new emotional frequency to your body, one that may have been absent for years. Joy, safety, abundance. These feelings may seem out of reach at first, but persist. Return again and again to the scene of fulfillment. Let your heart begin to believe in it, even if your mind still resists. The subconscious is moved by repetition and intensity. Feed it both. Over time, the rehearsal becomes a sanctuary, a place where you remind yourself of the truth that lives beyond appearances. You begin to crave that emotional state more than you crave the manifestation, and in that craving you become one with it. The paradox is that you stop needing it to happen because you already feel it as real, and this lack of need, this absence of desperation, opens the floodgates for the desire to materialize. It comes not to fulfill you, but to reflect you. You do not have to rehearse for hours each day. A few minutes of deep, concentrated, emotionally rich inner experience is more powerful than hours of shallow repetition. It is not about quantity, it is about saturation. Let your emotional experience soak into your being. Let it stay with you after the visualization ends. Let it color your decisions, your reactions, your energy. Walk through the day as if you are carrying a secret, the secret of knowing that your world is already changing because you changed first. The more you rehearse, the more your reactions begin to shift. You no longer respond with fear when circumstances contradict your desire. You recognize it as old reality playing itself out. You remain rooted in the new feeling. You do not chase. You do not beg. You do not doubt. You feel. You rest in the assurance that what you feel repeatedly must become fact. And so, emotional rehearsal becomes not just a technique, but a lifestyle. You are no longer a reactor, you are a creator. You are no longer asking the world for permission to believe. You have already believed. You have already received. You live from the end because you have already felt the end. And in the realm of feeling, the end is the beginning. To emotionally rehearse is to hold the vibration of the future in the present moment. It is to become the person who no longer hopes for change, but embodies it. This embodiment is the signal, the frequency, the call, and life, being ordered by law, must respond to it. What you feel as true within becomes the pattern that life reflects without. So do not wait for conditions to give you permission to feel. Choose the feeling now. Generate it deliberately. Rehearse it daily. Let it become your dwelling place, for in this rehearsal you are not preparing, you are creating. You are not dreaming, you are becoming. You are not waiting, you are living in the unseen with such conviction that the seen must bow to it. This is the power of emotional rehearsal. This is how you create inner certainty, and inner certainty is the root of all true manifestation. Be still. The moment you quiet the noise of the outer world, the inner world begins to speak. You do not need to chase anything, for what you seek is already seeking you. All things are drawn to their source, and you are the source of your own experience. Do not be fooled by appearances. The world outside you is only the shadow of your inner state. It is a reflection, not a reality of its own. Your job is not to manipulate the shadows, but to enter into the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you dwell in the feeling, the reflection must change. It is law. Relax. Nothing real is missing. You do not have to beg, strive, or worry. The more you strive, the more you affirm its absence. But when you relax, you claim it as already yours. Everything responds to the energy of assumption. Assume that it is done and it will be. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. You are the operant power. What you imagine and persist in must become fact. So persist in the feeling that all is well, that what you desire is already here. Let the outer world say what it will. Let time pass as it may. It does not matter. The only thing that matters is your inner conviction. Live from the end. Sleep tonight as the one who already has what they once longed for. Walk through your day with the gentle assurance that it is done. Do not try to make it happen, allow it. That is the greatest secret. In stillness, you create. In rest, you receive. When you change your state, the world rearranges itself effortlessly. People, circumstances, and events move around you like pieces of a puzzle falling into place. They are not coming to you because of luck. They are responding to your inner reality. And so you relax, you trust, you dwell in the unseen, and the seen will follow. The outer world is not the cause of your experiences, it is the result. Every condition you face, every person you meet, every circumstance that unfolds in your life is mirroring something within you. It is not an accident, nor is it imposed upon you by some external power. It is simply the reflection of the state of consciousness you occupy. When you understand this truth, you stop reacting to the outer world and begin responding from within. There is no power outside of you that can create or destroy your life's path. The real power lies in your awareness, your ability to imagine, to feel, and to believe in what is not yet seen. The world reflects not what you want, but who you are. And who you are is not defined by your name, your job, or your circumstances. Who you are is the state of consciousness you dwell in. That is your true identity. That is what shapes your entire experience. When you believe in lack, you will see evidence of lack. When you believe in love, you will find it everywhere. When you feel abundant, opportunities flow to you without effort. But when you hold on to fear, doubt, or resentment, the world will echo those feelings back to you. It is not punishing you. It is simply showing you where your attention has been dwelling. This is why it is useless to try to change things out there before you have changed in here. You may move to another city, change jobs, or end a relationship, but if you remain in the same state of being, you will simply recreate the same pattern in a new form. The external world is plastic to the mold of your inner convictions. It must conform to what you deeply assume to be true. Therefore, if you want something to change in your life, do not look outward. The outer is merely the echo, the inner is the voice. You are the source of your experience, whether you acknowledge it or not. And the most empowering truth is this: you can choose a new state at any moment. You can stop identifying with fear, with lack, with victimhood, and choose to occupy a new state. A state of peace, love, wholeness, and abundance. And when you do, the world around you will begin to shift in response. This change is not always instant in appearance, but it is instant in substance. The moment you shift internally, the seed is planted, and the seed knows how to grow. It does not need your constant worry or effort. It only needs your persistence in the new state. The world will take care of the rest. Events will unfold, people will appear, doors will open, not because you chased them, but because you assumed their presence and remained faithful to that inner knowing. This is why you must be conscious of what you dwell on mentally, the thoughts you repeat, the emotions you entertain, the assumptions you carry. They are all creative acts. You are not merely observing the world, you are projecting it. Your inner conversations are shaping your outer interactions. Your self-talk is scripting your life. If you tell yourself you are unworthy, overlooked, or unsupported, you will find that life agrees with you. But if you choose to speak differently, to feel differently, even if your senses tell you otherwise, you will begin to shift your world. The world is like a mirror with a slight delay. What you see is not always the instant result of your most recent thought, but the reflection of the state you have occupied consistently. That's why it may feel like nothing is happening when you change your inner world. But rest assured, everything is happening. The old reflection is fading and the new one is forming. Stay faithful to your chosen state and allow the reflection to catch up. Your outer world cannot resist the inner conviction you hold. It must yield, it must bend. That is the nature of creation. The moment you recognize yourself as the cause of your life, you stop giving away your power to conditions, people, and circumstances. You begin to live deliberately. You begin to imagine intentionally. You begin to feel on purpose. And when you do, life becomes less of a struggle and more of a dance. You don't fight for change, you embody it. You don't chase results, you align with them. You don't plead for miracles, you live as if the miracle has already occurred. And in that state of being, the outer world has no choice but to conform. You are not a victim of life's events, you are the creator of them. The sooner you accept this, the freer you become. For if the world is a reflection, then you can always change the image by changing the one who stands before the mirror. You do not need to wait for the world to agree with your desire before you feel it to be true. You only need to believe it inwardly and the world will follow suit. Everything begins within. Your awareness of being is the root from which all else grows. When you declare I am, whatever follows becomes your experience. If you say I am tired, you affirm tiredness. If you say I am successful, you align with success. These are not just words, they are creative forces. Your I am is the center of your world, and what you attach to it becomes your lived reality. Therefore, be mindful of what you claim to be. Be mindful of what you assume. The outer world is listening to your inner declarations, whether whispered or unspoken. It does not judge them as right or wrong, good or bad. It simply reflects them as fact. When you understand this, you begin to relax. You no longer chase after results or try to force life into shape. You begin to rest in the knowing that what you assume within must take form without. You trust the process, you nurture the feeling, you persist in the assumption. And the mirror of life begins to reflect back to you a world that matches your inner certainty. You are the light behind the image, not the image itself. You are the cause, not the effect, and the world, ever faithful, reflects you back to yourself again and again. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to live inwardly in the reality of your desire before it has made its appearance in the outer world. This is not a matter of pretending, hoping, or waiting. It is the deliberate act of embodying a new state of consciousness, one in which the thing you desire is already yours. You do not try to get something, you become the one who already has it. This simple, profound shift changes everything. Most people are taught to react to the world of facts. They see something, then feel something. They wait for results before allowing themselves to feel satisfied, happy, confident, or secure. But creation does not begin with facts, it begins with feelings. The outer world is only a delayed reflection of your inner world. So to create new facts, you must first create new feelings. You must begin to feel now what you would feel then. This is not about wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is about living in the state where your desire is already true. If you long for love, then you must assume the feeling of being loved now. If you want success, then dwell in the feeling of already being successful. If you seek peace, then embody peace, regardless of chaos around you. The external conditions may contradict your assumption at first, but they are powerless against sustained inner conviction. The secret is in the feeling, not the words you say, not the affirmations you repeat out of desperation, but the feeling you accept as real within yourself. The universe does not respond to begging or pleading. It responds to belief. When you feel something deeply and consistently, you impress it upon the deeper mind, and from there, it takes shape in the physical world. It has no choice. It must. This is why imagination is the most powerful tool you possess. Not imagination used for fantasy or escape, but imagination directed toward embodiment. When you imagine the scene that would be true if your desire were already fulfilled, and you feel the truth of it, you are creating a new reality. You are stepping into a parallel version of yourself. And by assuming that version, you invite its reflection into your life. Assumption is not passive. It is creative. It is the act of claiming something inwardly before it appears outwardly. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to accept that it already exists, even if the senses deny it. The senses are limited. They report only what has been. But your awareness, your feeling consciousness, is not bound by the past. It is the doorway to the unseen, the yet to be expressed. And when you enter into the feeling of the fulfilled wish, you open that door wide. You must become familiar with the feeling of already having. How would you move if your dream were real? How would you speak, breathe, carry yourself? What would you no longer worry about? What thoughts would no longer haunt you? Begin now to think, feel, and live from that place. Not toward it, but from it. That is the key. People often ask, how can I feel something I don't yet have? But that question reveals the misunderstanding. You feel it into being. The outer world follows the inner world, not the other way around. You are not waiting for something to happen to feel good. You are feeling good as the cause of it happening. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Without it, nothing can be brought into form. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you must quiet the noise of the senses. You must stop looking to the world to confirm your new state. It won't, not at first. You must become blind to appearances and loyal to your inner vision. This loyalty is not always easy, but it is essential. When the world contradicts your desire, you must remember that the world is only echoing your previous assumption. Do not return to the old state, stay in the new. Persist. It is in persistence that transformation occurs, not through effort or strain, but through steadiness. Each time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are impressing that state deeper into your subconscious. Eventually, it becomes your natural dwelling place. You no longer have to force it, you are it. And when that happens, the world responds in kind. It begins to rearrange itself to reflect the new you. This is not magic, it is law. What you feel to be true inwardly will express itself outwardly, provided you do not disturb it with doubt. The moment you accept your desire as already accomplished, the machinery of the unseen goes to work. You may not know how or when or through whom it will come, but you do not need to. Your job is not to figure out the means. Your job is to remain in the end. Live as if, walk as if, sleep as if, speak as if. Speak as if. That is the way of conscious creation. You do not need to explain your inner knowing to anyone. You do not need validation from the outside world. You are not seeking confirmation, you are giving it. You are saying to yourself, it is done. And you are allowing that inner certainty to radiate through every part of your being. Doubt may arise, but do not entertain it. Return to the feeling. Return to the scene. Return to the end. If you fall out of the state, gently bring yourself back. This is not a matter of perfection, it is a matter of persistence. Each time you enter the state of the wish fulfilled, you are shifting your identity. And when identity changes, life follows. You must become the version of you who already has what you desire. Not one day, not soon, now. For now is the only creative moment. The future is only a projection of your present state. So assume the feeling now. Let it flood your senses. Let it guide your thoughts. Let it shape your behavior. And most importantly, let it be enough. Even before anything changes on the outside. That is the test and that is the power. When you no longer need the world to show you results in order to feel fulfilled, you have mastered the art. And ironically, that is when results show up quickly, effortlessly, naturally. Because the world cannot resist a mind that is already convinced. It must reflect what you are. So be what you seek. Feel it real. Assume it now. The present moment is the only time that truly exists. It is the point of power, the gateway to change, the space where all transformation begins. When you realize this, you no longer wait for something to happen in the future. You no longer postpone your peace, your joy, or your fulfillment. You stop saying one day and begin saying now. Because now is the moment where you meet yourself. Now is the moment where you meet your imagination. Now is the moment where your wish can be fulfilled. So many live in the illusion of time. They believe that life is a sequence of events and that their happiness lies somewhere ahead, just out of reach. They think they must wait for conditions to change before they can change. But this is the greatest trap of all. The outer world is only a shadow. It is a mirror of what is already accepted within. And mirrors do not create, they reflect. That is why the present is so powerful. It is the moment where you can stop reacting and start creating. You are not bound by your past unless you carry it with you. You are not imprisoned by future fears unless you imagine them into being. Right now, in this moment, you are free. Free to imagine something new, free to choose a new thought, free to enter a new feeling. And the moment you do, you are planting a seed. The outer world may not change instantly, but the inner shift has already happened. And that shift is the cause. All else is effect. The mind left unchecked will always pull you out of the present. It will replay old wounds or project anxious futures. But neither the past nor the future hold any real power. Only the present does. And when you claim it, when you rest fully in it, when you feel the stillness of now, you realize that you already have access to everything. You do not need to chase. You only need to align. Imagination lives in the present. Feeling lives in the present. The state of the wish fulfilled can only be experienced now. You cannot feel it tomorrow. You cannot wait until conditions improve. You must choose to feel it here, in this very breath, in this very beat of your heart. That is the art. To dwell in the end, even when the beginning appears unchanged. What happens when you fully inhabit the present is a kind of awakening. You begin to notice that everything is alive with meaning. The moment becomes rich. Time slows. The tension dissolves. You stop fighting what is and begin to work with it. You become conscious. And in that consciousness, the door opens to infinite realities. You are no longer a victim of your life. You are the author. You are the dreamer. You are the one shaping what comes next. This does not mean you ignore the world around you. It means you stop being controlled by it. You start responding from a place of deep inner stillness instead of reacting from fear or habit. You become the calm in the storm, the eye of the hurricane, the silent observer who knows the truth beneath appearances. And from that place you can direct your attention toward what you choose to experience. Attention is your treasure. What you give it to grows. What you withdraw it from withers. So choose wisely where you place it. If you place it in the future, hoping for something to save you, you will always feel lack. If you place it in the past, trying to fix what has already happened, you will always feel regret. But if you bring it to now, this breath, this moment, this feeling, you reclaim your power. In the present, you can revise your inner world. You can imagine again. You can feel a new truth. You can decide who you are and live from that decision. That is what it means to create consciously. You are not waiting, you are not hoping, you are choosing. And your choice, when made with conviction and persistence, reshapes reality. The world will catch up to your inner shift, but that is not your concern. Your task is to remain loyal to the now. Each time your mind wanders into fear or doubt, bring it back. Each time you find yourself looking outside for evidence, return to the inner knowing. That is the practice, that is the discipline, and that is where miracles begin. Nothing stands between you and your desire except the belief that you must wait. But waiting is a state, it is a posture of lack. And what you assume as your state of being determines what you attract. So stop waiting, begin being. Feel it now, live from it now. The moment you choose to embody the state of the wish fulfilled, you stop time. You collapse the distance between now and then. You step into the version of you who already has. You are always becoming what you are conscious of being. This is the great mystery of life, that you do not attract what you want, but what you are aware of already having. The moment you identify yourself with a state, the world begins to move in response to that inner assumption. It's not magic or coincidence, it's law. Consciousness is the only reality, and whatever you are conscious of being or having, whether you speak it or not, whether others know it or not, begins to clothe itself in form. This means that your reality is not created from effort or from struggle, but from awareness. If you are aware that you are loved, even before the evidence appears, then love must come. If you are aware that you are successful even before the world calls you that, then success must unfold. It must, because consciousness is not passive, it is creative. It expresses itself through everything you think, feel, imagine, and accept as true. There is nothing outside of your awareness. Everything you experience, every conversation, every coincidence, every encounter, is only reflecting back to you your state of being. It's like a mirror that cannot lie. So if you want to change what you see, you must change the one who is looking. You must change the state you live from. You must begin to inhabit the inner experience of the life you desire. This is not about pretending, it is about knowing. Knowing in the stillness of your heart that the thing you desire is already yours. Knowing it with such calm certainty that you no longer need proof. You no longer chase it or question it or beg for it. You rest in the awareness that you already are it. And when you rest there long enough, the outer must conform. There's a silent power in identifying yourself with the end. If you feel rich, you won't worry about money. If you feel healthy, you won't obsess over symptoms. If you feel chosen, you won't seek validation. This inner feeling becomes the cause of outer facts. You may not see the shift instantly, but the moment you claim a new identity in consciousness, the transformation begins. Life will rearrange itself to mirror that claim. Your only true responsibility is to remain loyal to your inner state, even when the world contradicts it, even when appearances seem unchanged. Hold firm. What you are conscious of being will not stay hidden. It must emerge. It must become visible. Because you are not reacting to life, life is reacting to you. Many people live backwards. They wait for things to change before they change. They wait to feel loved until someone loves them. They wait to feel wealthy until they have the money. They wait to feel worthy until they are approved of. But that is not how this law works. The outer follows the inner. The world cannot bring to you what you are not willing to first feel within. This is why the secret is not in doing more but in being different. Not by force but by awareness. The more you return to your desired state, the more natural it becomes. At first it may feel like imagining, but eventually it becomes knowing. And when you know something, you don't need to prove it. You don't need to convince anyone. You simply live from it. You speak from it. You rest in it. Imagine a version of yourself who already has everything you want. What do they feel like? How do they walk, speak, breathe? That version of you is not separate. It exists in consciousness now. You can enter that state whenever you choose. And once you do, your thoughts will begin to align with that identity. Your actions will reflect that identity. Your world will shape itself around that identity. But you must be willing to let go of who you've been. The past is only alive if you keep remembering it. The limitations are only real if you keep accepting them. Every time you say, I am, you are creating. You are forming a mold. So be mindful of the identity you claim. Speak with purpose. Think with clarity. And most of all, feel with faith. This journey is not about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you already are. Beneath the layers of fear and conditioning, you are already whole, already loved, already free. You don't need to earn your desires. You simply need to accept them. Because what you accept as true in the silence of your soul will manifest in the noise of the world. No one else can do this for you. Others may support you, but the inner shift must come from within. You must choose again and again to be conscious of the truth you wish to experience, and that choice, when made consistently, becomes your new reality. The delay you experience is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the space in which your new state becomes stable. The world is not ignoring you, it's responding to you. If you don't yet see what you desire, it's not because it isn't coming, it's because the old self is still being dissolved. The moment you fully identify with your new state, the evidence will follow. So begin now, not with effort, but with awareness. Notice where your attention goes. Notice what stories you repeat. And gently bring yourself back to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do it with love, not with pressure. Do it as an act of remembrance. For what you seek is already within you, waiting to be recognized, waiting to be felt, waiting to be lived. Reality is fluid. It bends to the dominant assumption. So assume wisely. Assume lovingly. Assume boldly. You are not at the mercy of the world. You are the consciousness through which the world is made, and the state you consistently occupy becomes the world you consistently experience. You do not have to force the outer world to change. You do not need to manipulate conditions or convince others. All you need to do is become still, enter the state, and dwell there. Everything else will follow. Because what you are conscious of being is always becoming. Everything you desire is already yours. Not in some distant future, not after years of effort, not after proving yourself worthy, but right now in this very moment. The only thing that separates you from experiencing it is your belief that it is separate from you. The moment you stop seeing your desire as something out there to be achieved and start recognizing it as something in here to be accepted, everything shifts. You do not have to chase it, force it, or even figure out how it will come. You only have to assume it is already done. This is not about waiting, it is about knowing. It is about understanding that the life you long for is already yours in consciousness. And what is accepted in consciousness must express itself in form. The world outside of you is not the cause. It is the effect. It is the mirror reflecting back your inner state. And if the mirror is not showing what you desire, you do not fight the mirror, you change what it is reflecting. You shift within. The illusion of separation is what keeps people struggling. They believe their dreams exist in some future time, and because of this, they keep pushing them further away. They keep affirming one day, and so one day never comes. But the truth is, there is no future. There is only now. Everything that ever was and ever will be is already contained in this moment. And the moment you recognize this, you understand that manifestation is not about bringing something new into being. It is about selecting from the infinite possibilities that already exist. Your assumption determines your reality. If you assume something is missing, the world will confirm that assumption. If you assume something is already yours, the world will rearrange itself to prove you right. This is not about wishful thinking or pretending. It is about standing in the certainty that what you seek is already present. You may not see it yet with your eyes, but you can feel it. And feeling it is the secret. Feeling it is the key. Feeling is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. What you feel is real with conviction and persistence must become real in the outer world. The problem is most people allow their feelings to be dictated by external circumstances. They wait for the world to show them something before they feel it. But this is backwards. The world cannot give you what you have not first given to yourself. You must feel the reality of your wish fulfilled before it appears, not after. You must claim it inwardly before it is confirmed outwardly. This is why detachment is so powerful. Not detachment in the sense of not caring, but detachment from the need to see results immediately. When you know something is yours, you do not grasp for it. You do not beg or plead. You rest in the certainty that it is done. You move through life with the quiet confidence of one who already has what they desire. And because you do not question it, because you do not waver, the world responds accordingly. Think of something you already have, something that is undeniably yours. Do you stress over whether it will disappear? Do you constantly check to see if it's still there? No. You accept it as fact. This is the same attitude you must bring to your desires. Not hope, not wishing, not trying, but knowing. Knowing so deeply that no external circumstance can shake you. The moment you stop needing something, you allow it to come. As long as you feel you must have it to be complete, you are affirming its absence. And as long as you affirm its absence, it cannot appear. The paradox is that once you no longer feel the desperate need for it, you make space for it to arrive. This is why those who dwell in the state of fulfillment rather than the state of longing are the ones who see their desires manifest effortlessly. This does not mean you suppress your desires. It means you shift your relationship with them. Instead of seeing them as something outside of you, see them as something that is already yours. Instead of focusing on how or when they will come, focus on the feeling of already having them. Instead of waiting for life to change, change within yourself and life will follow. You do not need to manipulate circumstances. You do not need to convince others. You do not need to force anything. You only need to persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. Each time doubt creeps in, return to the feeling. Each time the world contradicts your inner knowing, remind yourself that the outer world is simply an old reflection. It will catch up. It has no choice. This is not about controlling reality. It is about understanding that reality is fluid, that it is shaped by your state of being. What you consistently assume you will experience. What you persist in feeling you will bring into form. The only question is, are you assuming what you want, or are you assuming its absence? Are you dwelling in the feeling of already having, or are you dwelling in the feeling of lack? Your state of being is the cause, the world is only the effect. Stop looking to the world for validation. Stop measuring your progress by what you can see. The unseen is just as real as the seen. In fact, it is more real because the seen is always changing. But your consciousness is the constant. Your consciousness is what gives rise to everything you experience. So dwell in the consciousness of your fulfilled wish and let the world take care of itself. The only discipline required is the discipline of staying in the state. Not forcing, not struggling, just remaining in the quiet certainty that all is unfolding perfectly. Each time you drift into old patterns, gently bring yourself back. Each time fear arises, remind yourself of who you are. Each time you feel tempted to check for signs, remember that the real evidence is within. Everything is already done. Your work is not to make it happen. It is to accept that it already has. Your only task is to align with the version of you who already has it, to think, feel, and live from that state. And as you do, the world will reflect it back to you in ways you cannot yet imagine. Relax. Let go of the need to control. Drop the sense of striving. Everything will come not because you force it, but because it is already yours. All you must do is receive it. You do not need to chase what is already yours in imagination. All that you desire, all that you long for, is already created in the unseen. It exists not in the distant future, not in some far-off realm, but within your consciousness. What you claim within must by law express itself without. The world is only a reflection of the state you occupy. So relax. Do not strain, do not beg, do not force. You are not here to make things happen. You are here to assume the feeling that they already have. There is a sacred timing, a divine rhythm to all manifestation. Just as no seed can bloom before its season, no desire can materialize before you are in harmony with its reality. When you dwell in the state of already having it, when you feel from the wish fulfilled, then time becomes your servant, not your master. You are not waiting on time. Time is waiting on you to believe, to feel, to accept. So rest in the knowing. Rest in the deep inner conviction that what is yours cannot be taken, cannot be missed, and cannot be delayed when you live from its end. Stop questioning when. Stop doubting how. The moment you enter the state of possession, the moment you wear it like a garment and feel its texture with your inner senses, you have already received. Let the outer world do what it will. Appearances may shout the opposite. Conditions may rise against you. But you are not moved by the evidence of the senses. You are moved only by the inner seeing. Your imagination, your assumption, is the creative force. What you see on the screen of life is merely a delayed reflection of what you have accepted within. Therefore, relax, cease striving. There is no effort in claiming what is already yours, no resistance in the state of fulfillment. Simply dwell in the feeling of the answered prayer. Be still and know that the moment you believe it is done, it is done. In life, we often look outside ourselves for fulfillment, searching for the right circumstances, people, or opportunities that will bring us the success, happiness, or peace we long for. But what if everything we desire already exists within us, in the unseen world of imagination? What if all we need to do is recognize and claim what has already been created? This is the essential truth that many of the great teachings point to the idea that manifestation begins within, in the deepest corners of your mind and consciousness. Your mind is the creative force of your life. It is from your inner world that the outer world takes shape. Every experience, every event, every circumstance that comes to you is a reflection of what you hold within. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs form the lens through which you perceive and interact with the world. But more than just a passive mirror, your inner world is an active, creative field where the seeds of all your desires are planted and nurtured until they emerge into reality. If you can truly grasp this concept, you will understand that nothing external has the power to give you what you seek. It is not something to be chased or waited for in the future. It already exists within your consciousness. The moment you realize that everything you want is already created in the unseen, a shift happens within you. It is as if a door opens to a new way of understanding life, a new way of approaching your desires. Instead of focusing on the lack or absence of what you want, you shift your attention to the fact that it is already there, in the realm of imagination. This idea is not about wishful thinking or fantasizing about unattainable dreams. It is about recognizing the inherent power you hold to create your reality by consciously aligning with the end result of your desire. Take a moment to reflect on the power of imagination. Every creation in the world, from the simplest tool to the most complex invention, started as a thought, an image in the mind. Before anything can be made manifest, it must first exist as an idea, a feeling, a mental image. Think about the things you've experienced in your life, whether it was an achievement, a relationship, or an opportunity. Before they came into physical existence, they existed first as a thought, a vision, or a feeling you had in your mind. It was your ability to hold that image in your consciousness that brought it into being. You created it from within. In the same way, everything you desire already exists as a potential in the vast expanse of your imagination. The difference is that most often you are not consciously aware of your creative power. You may think of your desires as something out there, something you must struggle to attain, or something that lies in the future, just beyond your grasp. But the truth is that it's already here. It is within you, waiting to be recognized, acknowledged, and claimed. This is where many people go wrong. They think they need to find their desires as if they are separate from themselves. But the reality is that your desires are not external things to be discovered or earned. They are reflections of what you already hold within you. When you feel a longing for something, that feeling is the first indication that it is already in existence, already waiting for you to acknowledge it. The more you can shift your awareness to the fact that the desire has already been created, the more you allow it to manifest in your physical world. To understand this, imagine you are planting a seed. You don't doubt that the seed contains within it the potential to grow into a plant or tree. You don't worry about how the seed will grow or when it will grow. You trust in the natural process, knowing that once you plant the seed, the growth process will unfold in its own time. The same is true with your desires. Once you plant the seed of your desire in your consciousness, you don't need to worry about how it will manifest or when. The process of manifestation will unfold naturally as long as you stay aligned with the inner image of your desire. The critical part of this process is in how you perceive your desire. If you see it as something outside yourself, something you need to get or achieve, you are keeping it separate from you. You are creating a gap between where you are now and where you think you need to be. But when you recognize that your desire is already within you, that it has already been created in the unseen, you bring it into your present experience. You no longer need to wait for it to appear or chase it down. You simply need to align with the feeling that you already have it. This alignment is what brings the desired outcome into your physical experience. It is not about forcing things to happen, nor is it about waiting for circumstances to change. It is about consciously choosing to live in the state of having already received. When you do this, your outer reality will naturally conform to the inner image you hold. You don't need to strive or struggle. You need only to assume the feeling of already being what to be, having what to be, having what you want to have. and doing what you want to do. The power of imagination is so profound that it can shape your world in ways you may not even fully understand yet. Your inner world is not just a passive reflection of your external circumstances, it is the very source of those circumstances. What you think about and focus on shapes what appears in your life. The more you can tune into your inner world and realize that everything you desire has already been created there, the less you will be distracted by the external circumstances that seem to contradict your desires. You will be able to remain grounded in the knowing that what you seek is already on its way to you, for it exists first in your mind and heart. When you align with the truth that everything you desire already exists in the unseen, you will begin to live differently. You will stop looking for approval or validation from external sources. You will stop feeling like you are missing something, because you will know that the only thing that matters is what you hold within your consciousness. And when you truly realize this, you will experience the power of creation that resides in you. You will no longer chase after things, you will attract them to you by simply aligning with the feeling that they are already yours. Your mind is the creative field where all things begin. Everything you desire is already created in the unseen, waiting for you to claim it. When you realize this, and shift your awareness to the fact that what you want is already within you, the external world will mirror that truth. There is no need to chase, to wait, or to force. Simply align yourself with the feeling of already having what you desire, and the universe will respond in kind. In the journey of life, one of the most important lessons to learn is the understanding that everything unfolds according to a divine rhythm, a perfect timing that is beyond our conscious comprehension. Often we find ourselves impatient, anxious, or frustrated, wondering why our desires haven't manifested yet, or why things aren't moving as quickly as we'd like. But the truth is, there is a sacred timing to everything, and the things we seek are brought to us when we are truly ready for them, when the conditions are right, not a moment before, nor a moment after. This understanding, when fully embraced, brings a deep sense of peace and trust in the process of life, allowing us to relax and trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. At its core, divine timing is the realization that life has a rhythm and flow, and that we are not the masters of this rhythm, but rather participants in it. Just as nature operates in perfect cycles, spring follows winter, day follows night, the tides rise and fall, so too does our life unfold according to an unseen yet perfect order. There is no need to rush or force things to happen. In fact, when we try to control the timing of our desires, we only create resistance and delay. It is only when we let go of the need to manipulate time and instead allow ourselves to be in harmony with it that we truly align with the flow of life. Think for a moment about the seasons. No one ever worries about whether spring will come or when the leaves will turn color in the fall. Nature has its own timing, and we trust that everything will unfold as it should. There is no need to rush the seasons or try to make them happen faster. They will arrive when the time is right. This is the same principle that applies to your desires and dreams. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not need to stand over it, forcing it to grow. You simply plant it, nourish it, and wait for it to sprout in its own time. In the same way, once you set an intention or desire, you must have faith that it will emerge at the right time, and that there is nothing more for you to do but to be patient and trust the process. Divine timing is also a reminder that everything happens for a reason, and that each experience, whether positive or negative, is a necessary part of your growth. You may not always understand why certain things happen when they do, or why your desires haven't yet manifested, but if you trust in divine timing, you will come to see that everything is happening as it should. There is a greater plan at work, one that is guiding you to exactly where you need to be at exactly the right time. It may not always match your expectations, but it will always be what you need in the moment. Often we think of time as linear, a straight line from past to present to future, and we become focused on when something will happen, as if it's a race to get to the next moment. But the truth is, time is not as fixed and rigid as it may seem. It is fluid and flexible, influenced by our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. When you align with divine timing, you stop fighting against time and stop trying to force your desires into a specific time frame. Instead, you allow yourself to be present in the moment, trusting that the right opportunities, the right people, and the right circumstances will show up at the perfect time. One of the reasons divine timing is so important is because it ensures that you are fully prepared for what is coming into your life. Often, we desire things before we are truly ready to receive them. We may long for success, love, wealth, or happiness, but the truth is, we must first become the person who is ready to receive these blessings. Sometimes, the waiting period is simply a time of growth and preparation, allowing us to develop the strength, wisdom, and resilience necessary to fully embrace what is coming. If we were given everything we wanted right away, without the necessary preparation, we might not be able to handle it or appreciate it in the way we would like. This understanding of divine timing also frees us from the pressure and stress of trying to make things happen on our own. When we let go of the idea that we are responsible for forcing our desires into reality, we create space for the universe to work its magic. We can stop worrying about the how and when, and instead focus on staying aligned with our desires and trusting that they will come to us at the right time. This doesn't mean we sit idly by and do nothing, but it means we act in faith, knowing that every step we take is part of the unfolding process and that things will align when the timing is right. There is a deep sense of peace that comes with embracing divine timing. When you trust that everything will come to you when it is meant to, you release the pressure of constantly trying to make things happen. You stop looking at the clock and start living in the flow of life. You stop worrying about the future because you know that everything you need will come to you exactly when you are ready for it. This sense of trust and faith allows you to live more fully in the present, to enjoy each moment without the anxiety of what's next. When you are in harmony with divine timing, you are no longer rushing toward the future or dwelling on the past. You are fully present, fully alive, and fully trusting in the process. Moreover, divine timing is not something that can be forced or rushed. We cannot control it, nor should we try to. It operates on a deeper level, beyond our conscious mind. Trying to make things happen before the right time only creates frustration and resistance. Just like a flower does not bloom prematurely, neither will your desires materialize before you are ready. The beauty of divine timing is that it is always perfectly attuned to who you are, where you are, and what you need. It is not about waiting passively for things to happen, but about being open, receptive, and trusting that everything will unfold in its own time. By releasing the need to control time and outcomes, we open ourselves up to receive the blessings and opportunities that are coming our way. When we stop focusing on the when and the how, we allow ourselves to flow with life's natural rhythm, trusting that everything will come to us when we are ready, and that we will be in the perfect place at the perfect time to receive it. Living from the end means adopting the mindset and emotional state of already having what you desire, regardless of external circumstances. It's the profound understanding that what you seek is already yours, existing in the unseen, and that all you need to do is align with it internally. When you live from the end, you stop waiting for things to change externally to feel fulfilled or successful. Instead, you embrace the feeling of fulfillment now, knowing that it is only a matter of time before the outer world reflects this inner state. When you begin to accept that your desires are already within you, you shift your perspective from one of lack and need to one of abundance and fulfillment. The belief that you must search for something outside yourself to feel whole or complete is one of the most common misconceptions that keeps people stuck. This mindset makes it seem as though your happiness or success is always somewhere in the future or outside of you, something to be earned or achieved through hard work and external circumstances. But in reality, the essence of everything you want is already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. The moment you realize this, you open yourself up to a deeper connection with your true power. The most important thing to understand here is that your desires Dreams and goals are not random. They are not arbitrary or unattainable. They are reflections of who you truly are, of your deepest potential. Every desire you have is an expression of a part of you that is already in existence, waiting to be brought into full expression. When you desire something, it is because it is already a part of you. It may not be fully manifested in your physical reality yet, but it exists in your consciousness, and as such, it is just as real as anything else you perceive with your senses. You are not trying to acquire something that is separate from you. You are simply reconnecting with a part of yourself that is already whole, complete, and ready to be expressed in your life. When you recognize that your desires are already within you, you no longer feel the need to search outside yourself for validation or fulfillment. This realization frees you from the burden of waiting for things to happen or for others to give you what you want. You stop depending on external circumstances, people, or events to define your sense of worth, and instead begin to understand that your worth and everything you desire are rooted in your own consciousness. This shift in perception is liberating because it allows you to take full responsibility for your life and the experiences you create. You realize that you are not at the mercy of the outside world, but are the creator of your own reality. Once you understand that everything you desire is already within you, the next step is to align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with that truth. This alignment requires a conscious decision to trust in the process of manifestation, and to have faith in the fact that everything you need is already inside of you, just waiting to be recognized. To begin living from this place of inner knowing, you must let go of any doubts or fears that suggest you are lacking in any way. Any belief in scarcity or insufficiency only serves to create resistance, keeping you from fully embracing the abundant reality that is already yours. Part of this process involves shifting your focus from the outside world to your inner world. Instead of constantly looking for answers in the external environment, you begin to trust your intuition and inner guidance. Your intuition is the voice of your higher self, the part of you that knows the truth about who you are and what is possible for you. When you trust your inner wisdom, you open yourself to the flow of abundance and creativity that already exists within you. The more you listen to your inner guidance, the more you will be able to access the resources, inspiration, and solutions that are already available to you. This inner knowing also empowers you to take inspired action. You are no longer acting from a place of desperation or need, but from a place of confidence and self-assurance. When you know that everything you desire is already within you, you are no longer afraid to take the necessary steps to bring it into your physical reality. You move forward with clarity and purpose, trusting that the actions you take will align you with the manifestation of your desires. You understand that your thoughts and feelings shape the reality you experience. And by focusing on the positive emotions associated with your desires, you begin to draw them to you effortlessly. The realization that everything you want is already within you also allows you to release attachment to specific outcomes. Too often, people become fixated on how their desires will manifest or on the specific form in which they will appear. They become overly focused on the how and when of the manifestation process, which only creates resistance and delays. But when you accept that everything you need is already a part of you, you stop worrying about the details of the manifestation. You simply focus on the feeling of having what you desire and trust that the universe will bring it to you in the most perfect and harmonious way. Living with the understanding that everything you desire is already within you also means recognizing your inherent power. You are not a passive observer in your life, but an active participant in the creation of your reality. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions have the power to shape your experiences. And when you consciously align them with your desires, you create the conditions for those desires to materialize. The power to manifest is not external to you. It is already a part of who you are. It is embedded within your consciousness, your imagination, and your emotions. By tapping into this inner power, you unlock the potential to create anything you want in your life. This idea also invites you to release the need for external validation. Many people seek approval from others or rely on external achievements to feel good about themselves. But when you realize that everything you need is already within you, you no longer look to others for validation. You begin to understand that your worth is not determined by anyone else's opinion or by external accomplishments. Your worth is inherent, and it is not based on what you do or what you have, but on who you are. This realization is profoundly liberating, as it allows you to embrace yourself fully without the need for external approval or recognition. As you continue to live with the understanding that everything you desire is already within you, you begin to experience a deep sense of peace and contentment. You stop striving, chasing, or struggling to get what you want. Instead, you relax into the knowing that it is already yours. This shift in consciousness allows you to live in harmony with the natural flow of life, trusting that everything is unfolding perfectly. You stop measuring your success or happiness by external achievements and start living from a place of inner fulfillment and peace. In embracing the truth that everything you desire is already within you, you align yourself with the limitless potential that exists within your consciousness. This awareness empowers you to create the life you desire, not from a place of lack, but from a place of abundance and self-assurance. You begin to see that everything you seek is already a part of you, waiting to be recognized. And as you do, the world around you begins to reflect that truth. The process of allowing life to unfold at its own pace, without the need for constant pushing, striving, or forcing, is one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life. It is an act of surrender. Surrendering to the flow of life, to the universe, to the divine timing of your desires. This is where true peace is found, not in constant effort or struggle, but in the quiet knowing that everything will come to you when the time is right. When you embrace this understanding, you stop fighting against the natural flow of events and instead allow yourself to be carried along by it. One of the fundamental aspects of allowing is letting go of the need to control every aspect of your life. Often people feel as though they must take action immediately to make their dreams come true, or they worry that if they don't act quickly, they will miss out on something important. However, this frantic energy only creates resistance and delays the manifestation of your desires. The truth is, when you try to control everything, you are actually pushing away the very things you want to bring into your life. Instead of forcing things to happen, you begin to trust in the process, knowing that everything is happening at the perfect time. Surrendering to the flow of life requires a deep sense of trust. You must trust that the universe has a plan for you, that everything is unfolding in alignment with your highest good, even when you can't see the bigger picture. Trusting that things will come to you at the right time means letting go of the need to force outcomes and embracing the idea that all is well, regardless of external circumstances. It's about knowing that what is meant for you will never pass you by, and what you truly desire will find its way to you in divine time. The difficulty for many people lies in the fear of missing out, or the fear of not getting what they want. This fear creates a sense of urgency, which often leads to hasty decisions or actions. But fear and urgency are the opposites of trust and patience. When you allow life to unfold naturally, you are no longer driven by fear, but by faith and inner knowing. You understand that there is no need to rush, and that everything will manifest at the right moment. This deep sense of trust frees you from the constant pressure to make things happen, allowing you to relax and enjoy the journey. In the process of allowing, you stop trying to control the how and when of your desires. The how is often the biggest obstacle people face when manifesting their dreams. They focus so much on the logistics, on figuring out exactly how things will unfold, that they lose sight of the bigger picture. But the how is not your job. It's the job of the universe. When you focus on the end result, on the feeling of already having what you desire, you align with the energy that will bring it into your life. The details, the timing, and the logistics are taken care of by the universe. Your role is simply to remain in alignment with your desire and trust that it is already on its way. Allowing life to unfold also means embracing patience. In a world that often encourages instant gratification, it can be difficult to embrace the idea that things will come to you in their own time. But patience is not about passively waiting for things to happen. It is about trusting the process. and remaining calm in the face of uncertainty. Patience is the ability to stay grounded in the present moment, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be and that your desires will manifest when the timing is right. When you live from a place of allowing, you stop measuring your progress against a timeline or external markers. You let go of the need to know exactly when something will happen or how it will look. Instead, you focus on the joy of the present moment, knowing that the future is already unfolding in your favor. This shift in focus allows you to enjoy the journey rather than constantly looking for the destination. You find satisfaction in the process of growth and in the small moments of life rather than waiting for a specific event to happen to feel fulfilled. Another important aspect of allowing is releasing attachment to the outcome. When you become too attached to a particular outcome, you create a sense of desperation or need which pushes your desires away. Attachment comes from a place of fear and lack, and it creates resistance to the natural flow of life. But when you release attachment, you trust that what is meant for you will come to you, regardless of the specific form or timing. You no longer need things to go a certain way because you understand that life has something even better in store for you. Releasing attachment means surrendering your expectations and trusting that whatever happens is for your highest good. By allowing life to unfold at its own pace, you align with the rhythm of the universe. You stop swimming against the current and start flowing with it. The universe operates in perfect timing, and when you align with that timing, everything you desire will come to you naturally. This alignment brings a sense of peace and ease into your life. As you are no longer struggling to make things happen, you trust that everything is working in your favor and that your desires will manifest at the perfect moment. This trust is rooted in the understanding that the universe is always working on your behalf. Even when things don't seem to be going your way, you know that everything is happening for a reason. The universe is constantly guiding you toward your highest potential. And every experience, whether perceived as positive or negative, is part of the process of bringing you closer to your goals. You begin to see challenges as opportunities for growth and learning, and you trust that every obstacle is preparing you for the next step in your journey. The act of allowing is a practice of patience, trust, and surrender. It is a conscious decision to let go of the need to control every aspect of your life and to trust that everything is unfolding as it should. When you allow life to unfold at the right time, you release the pressure of trying to make things happen and instead align with the natural flow of the universe. This brings a sense of ease, peace, and joy into your life, as you trust that everything is happening exactly as it should. You stop waiting for the future to bring you happiness, and you begin to find contentment in the present moment, knowing that all your desires are already on their way.